Hi guys, and welcome to this week's Wake Up CX. So I've decided over the coming weeks what I would like to do is run a series on how we can reduce the volumes that we're receiving into our various customer support channels. So this is going to be aimed at things that a customer service advisor, can implement directly on the floor. Won't need any new technology for it. Doesn't cost you anything. You don't need to buy any training material or anything like that. All just basic stuff that we can do within the contact center to help reduce those inbound volumes. So the first part is, why do we want to reduce the inbound volumes? And what does that actually mean? Might be a good one as well. So we don't want to reduce your customer base or the volume of customers you have, okay? Because that would obviously reduce the number of people that would need to call you. But what we do want to do is maintain or grow your customer base whilst giving each of those customers fewer reasons to contact your customer support channels. That means they're having a positive experience as a customer. They're not running into as many problems and they don't need to call you as often. Now, obviously, something will always go wrong somewhere along the lines and people will need to call in. So when they do, we need to make sure that support is as good as possible so that they're not going to need to keep calling. So what I'm thinking for today's is I want to look at our telephony channel, okay? And just some simple things that customer service advisors can do. Doesn't require any specific training, literally just a conversation if they're not doing it now, and you can have it implemented this afternoon. So I want us to think on a 911 operator or a 999 operator as an example, because these people deal with incredibly challenging conversations and they do so consistently throughout the day. So if you think your customer service advisors out of every 10 calls may get one really annoyed customer, or across an entire day they may deal with one angry person, 999 operators, they deal with them constantly. And those situations are so important to get right. And as a result, they become excellent advisors. One of the many things they do is they control the conversation whilst showing empathy. So your customer service advisors need to show empathy to your customer. That's just important. If you don't, they will sense it straight away. They'll know you don't care, you're not interested in solving it. You'll hear it all the time. I want to speak to somebody else. I want to speak to your team leader. I want to speak to your manager. Somebody else, just get me off the phone to you. I want to deal with somebody else. We need to stop that. And the way to do that is to make them know that you're on their side. You're going to try and resolve things for them. Now, again, looking at our 999 operators, they've got this person on the phone that's in a high stress situation. They could be hyperventilating a little bit. They could be crying. They could be scared. They could be whispering down the phone. And they could have an accent or whatever on top of that as well. So let's put that back to our contact center environment. You're going to need to ask customers to repeat themselves if you don't understand what they're saying. It's not that you don't care, it's that you do care enough that you need to be ensuring that you have the correct information to resolve their query. So asking them to repeat themselves is not a negative. It shows that you need to have the right information. And you can even say that to them. I'm sorry to ask you to repeat yourself. I've got some of the information. I just need to get a little bit more to ensure that I get the correct resolution for you. Doesn't take much. And again, 999 operators are great at this because they need to control that conversation. Now, as you progress through the call and you've got more and more information, you might find that you can offer a solution there and then on the spot. Now, this is brilliant. If you can do this, help them, work them through how to fix it, explain how it occurred and what they can do in future. A little bit of an education piece, This is what you can do, and that in turn will then reduce their need to call back in the future. But more often than not, you can't resolve it. It's out of your hands. You need a different department to get involved. You need a technical expert to look at things. It could be one of a number of things. Same way in that a 999 operator can't necessarily help someone who's under threat of attack. They can't help someone that's had an injury. They need to get somebody else to come in and resolve that for them. So your customer service advisor, again, same track. What you do, you need to tell them this is what's going to happen next. You need to be clear. You need to explain what the process is. You need to manage expectations. When you're on a 999 call, they'll say someone will be with you. They're on this road. They'll be with you in 5 minutes. You might not be able to be as precise in a customer service as a customer service advisor in a contact center, but you can provide some guidance. You know what your turnaround is like for an email or an escalation, so just share that information with your customer. There's no need to hide it, just manage expectations. You could even go as far as to say, this is what the likely outcome of that next contact is. Just so they're not expecting, oh, I'm going to get a call back and everything's going to be fixed. There's no problem, everything's great. Because then when they receive that contact back and they need more information or they need to give them a new deadline, the customer's automatically disappointed. So you need to be managing those expectations. Taking your time on the call. So it's really 3 easy steps there, isn't it? Show empathy, control the tone and the pace of the conversation, and manage your expectations. You do all 3 of them and you will, over time, reduce the amount of volumes coming in. And at the same time, it improves your customer's experience because they feel heard, that you care, and they know what's coming. If they know someone's ringing them, they don't need to ring you back. And if you're the one that's in control of that next step, you can manage your time better. Okay, it makes things a whole lot easier. The worst thing that can happen is that you get buried in a call queue that you can't manage, because then people start pressuring you to do more calls, get them off the call quicker, get on to the next one. We've got to clear this queue, whatever it is that they keep pushing you to do. And ultimately, it doesn't solve anything. Yeah, the queue goes away, but they're all just going to bring back up in 10 minutes anyway. And if they don't bring back up in 10 minutes, you're going to end up with a advisory board, someone investigating you because you've breached all your compliance rules. So you need to make sure that you're managing the conversations in a controlled and safe environment, and that you do that while showing empathy. So there's so much more to this topic. This is not by any means a one and done. It's such a big topic that so many people can share different perspectives on. So what I'm going to ask is, my final request to you today is, if you know anyone that works frontline in customer service advisor, if you've got any people that work 999 operations, bring them into the fold as well, please. Tag them, let them know about this series. I would love to speak to them and pick their brains, see what they can bring to the table. So please let me know your opinions, share your thoughts and your experience in the comments. And again, we'll come back next week where I will look at some of the things we can do with emails to help reduce the inbound volume. Thanks for your time, and you have a good Friday. Bye now.